Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Ready, Set, Estate Sale. Today, we'll be discussing why do you need an estate sale company. We'll be covering such exciting topics as staging, pre-sorting, knowledge, pricing, advertising, running the sale, and a few other things. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Daryl. Glad you all could join us today.
Hey, well, glad to be here.
Great.
Absolutely. Wonderful to see you all.
Did you all have a wonderful Christmas?
Yes, we certainly did. Of course, we've got a lot of family, and we have 4 grandchildren. So there, 2 of them are 7 years old. One is almost 2. One is 1 today. So and we had our great nephew and niece, and a lot of kids. A lot of fun.
Great.
You had
How
a
about
great
you, Daryl?
holiday then.
What about you, Daryl?
Oh, man, I just traveled, seeing all the family. I ate too much, traveling to Bristol, then Jonesboro, then back to Jonesboro. I mean, it's just been nonstop the whole time.
Well, that's kind of what Christmas is all about, is getting together with your family. So guys,
Exactly.
we got a very... I'm sorry, Tammy?
I was going to say, what about you, Dwayne? What about your Christmas?
Oh, mine was as good as it can be. You're just being with family and enjoying each other and having good food and entertaining and just having a great time. So, yes, it was a great Christmas. So, we have an exciting show today, guys. We're going to be talking about why do you need an estate sale company. So, we have Tammy, who is actually the host of Northeast Tennessee Estate Sale Treasures, and we have Daryl Hinkle, who is co-owner of East Tennessee Estate Liquidators, along with myself, who is the other co-owner of East Tennessee Estate Liquidators. And we're going to be covering a few topics here. A lot of people have asked and wanted to know, why do you really need an estate sale company? Why can't you just go out here and have your own garage sale, yard sale, blah, 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 and just sell the stuff yourself? Well, you can do that, but you probably won't make as much money as if you hire an estate sale company. That's just the basics of it there. So there's so many things that an estate sale company can do for you that you can't do for yourself. And that's one of the main reasons why you need to have an estate sale company. So with that said, we're just going to jump in here and we're just going to go through some general ideals here. So the first topic here is pre-sorting. What do we want to talk about pre-sorting? What does that mean to everybody? Anybody have any ideas?
Pre-sorting is actually... Oh, I'm sorry, Tammy. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I was just thinking when he said pre-sorting, I would be thinking that you have to go into a home and pull out all the items in there. That's in the homes.
That's kind of sort of yes. Daryl?
Yes.
Absolutely. You got to pull everything out like Tammy said, and then you got to get it all you got to decide what is sellable and what is trash. A lot of times, if the family does it, they throw away things that they think is trash, but we know we could have sold it for good money. So it's real important to pull everything out and evaluate it and make a decision whether you need to throw it away or sell it or put it in a donation box.
Yeah. A lot of times we go in and the person is a hoarder, or they have just so much stuff, the family just so overwhelmed with, what are we going to do? They just sit there and say, I don't know where to start. What do I do? And we can come in and we can actually help you to decide, what's trash, what's to be donated, and what can be sold. The first thing we tell people a lot of times is, don't throw anything away until we look at it. Because a lot of times the family don't really know what is valuable and what isn't valuable, what will sell and what won't sell, and they'll wind up throwing away 90% of their sellable stuff and keep the stuff that's so big that it just sits there and they think, oh, I could have sold that, but it never gets sold. But that's a good thing, is that pre-sorting helps you to organize and get the sale under control and be able to see what you can and cannot sell. So once we get things pre-sorted, we go and we do something called staging. And staging is where, anybody wanted to guess? Daryl?
Well, staging is where you take everything that's sitting around, piled up everywhere, and you start out in one room or one small area. You make it look nice with your tables, your chairs, your lamps, your accessories on the wall. You make it look nice just like you're living in the house. And that way the customer sees it and they get an idea of what they could do with it in their home.
That's exactly right. So, yeah. And Tammy, you've seen this a lot of times. You go to sales and you see some sales that just looks like, man, they just threw that in there. And then there's some sales like, wow, this really looks great because, they've staged it. A lot of times families, or not families, I should say, but people come in and they look at stuff and they have no idea how it's going to look in their house. But if you can take a few minutes and present it and make it look, you can take trash and make it look good, and somebody will buy it. But you can take something and not polish it, not clean it, and set it beside something, and I say, ooh, that don't look very good. So a few minutes of polishing, a few minutes of cleaning, a few minutes of setting up and putting the lighting on in the right direction, and it will sparkle and catch their attention, and you'll take a $5 item and turn it into a $25 item real quick. So staging is very important. Don't you agree?
And one of the best compliments is when the families come through to look at it and they see things and they say, well, where was that at? We didn't even know Mom had that. Mm-hmm. And that's a good compliment because you did your job. You found it and you got it staged properly and it stood out.
Yeah. And what do you think, Cam? You act like you will say something here for a second.
Yeah. Oh well, I was thinking about the staging part when I was helping Tom Williams at one of his estate sales. It was out in Indian Springs, and there was one piece, like a real pretty platter, and it was put like over in a hutch. And there happened to be an open spot on the table. So I saw this beautiful piece and I took it and I put it on that table. Within 5 minutes, somebody noticed it, and they hadn't noticed it where it was at originally.
Right.
So a lot of times I think, it may be where you're putting an item. If you can put it in the right spot and the right person comes through, then you've got a really great sale right there.
That is
true. And that's another reason to have an estate sale company. They know that. And it's nonstop. From the minute you open to the minute you close. When something sells out on the main thoroughfare or somewhere where people gather, the first thing you do is you find something else nice and you're continuously moving it. If it doesn't sell here, you move it and it'll sell somewhere else.
Yeah.
We've seen that over and over, and I know all the companies do that.
Yeah, and that's a good segue into our next little section here on knowledge. It's the company's knowledge on how to make something sell or how to present something that's not very presentable to get it to be able to sell. And as Tammy was saying, her knowledge of knowing to get it out of that cabinet and getting it where the sunlight would hit it would make it be more presentable. And there again, the item sold. Mm-hmm. So it's knowledge on how to present something, knowledge on how to organize something, knowledge on how to just basically get things together where people can see what's what. Get your light colors together, get your all your clothing together in one area, get your glassware together in one area, your furniture together in one area. It's just knowing where and how to put this stuff in the right area. So knowledge is very important when it comes to estate sales. So once we get these things staged and we get them out where people can see them and know how we're doing, how do we come up with the price? Pricing is very important. If you have a yard sale, you might price something for 50 cents, $1, $2, and you have an estate sale, that same 50 cent, $1, $2 item could be $5, $10, or $50. Because it all depends on how you price it and how you present it and your knowledge. Because, just take for example, we had a estate sale where this girl, she basically had no knowledge of coins. Her father was a big coin collector. She had no knowledge of them. And she opened a safe and she just stood there and looked at them. She says, "There's nothing in there. Just sell it." Well, if we didn't have some sort of knowledge about what the coin values are and what was in there, we would have just gave that stuff away. But we was going through it and we found 22 2-ounce gold pesos, Mexican pesos. We took them and sold them and brought the lady back $133,000 in cash for her pesos. Her jaw dropped just like Tammy
Oh,
when we told her.
oh
Where
no.
did that come from? I said, "That was in that safe. You said there was nothing in there to sell." She said, "Oh, I had no idea." So knowledge of what is valuable and what is not valuable is very, very good. And knowing how to price that. So
Yes,
we brought her the price back.
absolutely.
So, and when it comes to pricing,
And I was just going to say that's a compliment with you all, knowing though what to do, like, where to take those to sell them and get that
Exactly.
kind of money for her.
Right. So, and when it comes
Absolutely.
to pricing things, Daryl, how do you determine the fair market value of something?
Well, we've been in the business, for so many years. We're pushing 20 years. And you just learn it. But I think the more important part is we're in a really unique area here. Like if you're in Elizabethton and near North Carolina, right on the border up there, and if you have the same item there, you wouldn't have the same price on it that you would have in Johnson City or Kingsport or Bristol. Because if I'm in Elizabethton and I have Blue Ridge pottery, I can get more money out of my Blue Ridge pottery there than I can in other areas because the company where it was made was just right up the street from Elizabethton. So there's things like that and a lot of variables that can determine, what you can get out of the merchandise.
Right. And when it comes to pricing items, we try to find a fair market value for every item. The family can look at their sofa that they've had 20 years, and in their eyes, that sofa is brand new, and they want the same amount of money back for what they paid for it. And in actuality, that sofa is 20 years old, and it's not as valuable as it was when they first bought it. So you have to balance that out and find a fair area that would both please the owner and please the customer, and you come up with a fair market value for that item. Okay, and when you do that, you can actually increase the price and get more for it, but still yet have it at a lower price where people feel like they're getting a bargain for doing that and buying that item. So it's kind of a juggling act to try to figure out the pricing there, because you got to include your knowledge of what the item is. You got to include the customer and try to get the customer the most money for the item, but you still yet got to be able to give the customer, the purchasing customer, not the customer client that you're working for, but the purchasing customer, you got to give them a good value too, because 90% of them are going to be reselling it. And if you price it at a top retail value, then they're not going to be making no money, and they're not going to be coming to your estate sale. And, but you want to be able to make sure that the customer, your client customer, is being represented and has the ability to make some money too, because it is their stuff and it's a fine line walking on that there. So pricing is very important. So if you don't do the next item, it really doesn't matter if you price well or not if you don't know how to advertise. And advertising is a very important segment here. And we have an expert advertising person with us, Miss Tammy here. She advertises every week for all the different companies in town. So she probably has a good knowledge on this advertising, where to and how to and what to do about it. So what's your thought on advertising, Miss Tammy?
Well, yeah, thank you all for those kind, sweet words. advertising really is key to, once you've sorted your items in your house, once an estate sale company comes in and sorts and stages and you price it, you've got to get word out so that all kinds of people will be coming to your sales. And me personally, I think you can't go wrong by advertising in estatesales.net, estatesales.com. I believe with estatesales.net you have to pay. I'm not sure how much money. They have different packages. But those are the two really the biggest ways to get out for advertising, along with advertising on your own business Facebook page. Then I also go into these estate sale companies pages and I pull and I share them in my personal group that I have 4,700 and some members. And some people also advertise with their local newspaper because there are actually people out here that do not do the digital, the social media. And also I've been advertising in another app called Nextdoor. That allows me to let people in the neighborhoods around here know, maybe people that don't do Facebook. So there are a whole lot of ways. Oh, and people also use signs. Besides advertising all these ways, they put out a sign to let people that are just driving by know where these sales are. Mm-hmm. So there are a whole lot of different ways to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Daryl says, we've been doing estate sales for almost 20 years now, and we use basically everything you said there, Tammy. We advertise in estatesales.net, estatesales.org. We use our Facebook page. We use our mailing list, which is very important. So when these companies ask you to sign up for their mailing list, there's a reason they're asking you to sign up for their mailing list, because they want you to be able to know what is coming up from their particular sale. And they'll send you a personal invite every week to come to their sale. So when they ask you to sign up, please sign up on their list, because it's very important. We use newspapers. It's just, there's really no end to what you can do to advertise. So, anything I missed there, Daryl, about advertising?
You have hit it. Tammy hit it great. I think the only thing that I was going to mention that she didn't was the our email list. That is very valuable to us, and all companies have them. And that's like gold for them, because they know these 500 or 1,000 people that signed up for this are serious buyers that like to come to their estate sale. So you definitely want them to know about it. And creative marketing is the key to any successful estate sale.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and speaking of advertising, Tammy, is there any sales coming up this week?
Absolutely. Well, actually, this week, since it is still holidays, there are three auctions, and two of them are what I call in-person auctions. They are Friday night. Let's see, tomorrow, Friday, December the 29th at 6:00. There is one called Hammer Time Auto Auctions. And they do they auction vehicles every single Friday night. And they try to include like a list or pictures on their website. So that's going on tomorrow. That's in Johnson City. That is they're located at 2106 East Main Street. And then also on Saturday, on December 30th at 5:00, you can go down to 109 Inca Drive, Mount Carmel, Tennessee, where Gibson Auctions will be holding another in-person auction. And there are all kinds of pictures on their webpage, their Facebook group, and then I've included it in my estate sale group. But Gibson Auctions, you could go. They're going to hold an auction at 5:00, and they're going to do a preview and a registration process Saturday at 3. And then there is one online auction going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights at 7 with Pickers Auction. So you can do that that right from the comfort of your own home, right from your computer or your phone. You just have to be registered ahead of time to bid with pickers.
Okay.
Great.
Now,
But next week, look out because the estate sales will be starting back.
okay. So
Thank you.
the Hammer Time auction, the auto auction, is that open to the general public or only to dealers?
It is open to the general public, from what I know. Yes.
Okay, that's great. I didn't know we had an auto auction open to the public. That's great. Now, is Kimball Sterling having a New Year's Day auction this year?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
If
thought he
there
always
is
had one.
one, I'm not aware.
I think he is, but he has not started promoting it heavily yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
okay.
This is a yearly tradition for him.
Yeah, he's done it every year for numerous years. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure if he does one, it'll be fantastic. And if his daughters put it on their page, I will definitely be including it in my group page.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, thank you, Tammy. That's very informative. Ugh, can't talk there today. So, our next little topic we're going to be talking about is running the sale. Why do you need an estate sale company to run your sale? Okay. There, we're going to take that one.
Well, let's just go back one little step, but I want to update Tammy on something here. I just looked it up. He's having his Kimball Sterling on New Year's Day. We'll be having his 30th annual auction on New Year's Day. And it will be, January the 1st of 24. And it will be preview at 10, and it will start at 11 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And this is
Okay.
taking place, he's doing it on site in his gallery. And for those that don't know where that is, that's at 125 West Market Street in Johnson City.
Okay.
And
Hey, I
he
love
put that
it.
up, but he says photos are coming soon. So he's running just a little bit behind getting it up, but it will be a fantastic auction.
Great. Great.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know and all the wonderful people watching.
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
Well, when it comes to running a sale, an auction company needs basically the same thing that an estate sale company needs to run a sale, and that's people. And when a person is wanting to have a sale and to run a sale, that's one of the reasons they need to hire an estate sale company, is because most estate sale companies have the staffing that's necessary to come in and run the sale, and that will help control loss of inventory, theft, and actually promote sales, because the people can help people get their items to the counter to be checked out and empty their hands so they can be able to find more items without having being burdened down with all these different items in their hands. So running a sale is very important when it comes to an estate sale company. You got any thoughts on that, Daryl?
You hit the nail on the head with that one.
Okay, sounds good. So the next item would be clean up and packing up. Okay, if a person doesn't really hire an estate sale company to do their sale, then they're going to be burdened with going in and cleaning up the mess, packing up the things, getting it ready for charities or pick up people or whoever does that. And that can be kind of devastating to a family to have to go in there and pack their family's items up and basically do away with them. It's like a final goodbye. And it's really hard on the family. So when a family hires a company to come in, then they're taking that burden off of them of disposing of their parents' items or their family's items or whatever. And the estate sale company can actually come in and do that for you. And that's part of the contract, and part of the things they negotiate is clean up and packing up of the sale, which it's a relief for the family actually to allow that to carry on. So that is a really good reason, if nothing else, to have an estate sale company, is to do the final disposal of the items of your parent families, which is kind of hard to do. So that is one of the great things to do. So, that being said, anything else you want to add there, Tammy or Daryl?
Well, now, like when you're saying like the final clean out, I guess ultimately it's really up to the client if they want to have their items donated or so I guess, or maybe somebody might even offer to come in and buy you all out, or buy the company. Like, you know what I meant. Like, come in and offer an amount for the items left, and as long as the homeowner's okay with that, or the client that hires the company, then you could also go that route, and you wouldn't have to either. Or they can donate items too, I guess, but there are kind of options, right? That's why it is good to use an estate sale company.
Right.
So, that way you know what needs to happen with your items.
And that's a good point you brought up there. One of the things estate sale companies can do, they can handle that clean out. If they have a clean out company who comes, or they have a charities coming, they can oversee that clean out and make sure it's done right. And make sure the house is left in a good order versus, just the family just packing it up and getting disgusted and letting it go. Because they have the estate sale companies usually have the names and phone numbers of charities or buyout people, and there's always a list they can provide for you. They have the names and numbers of trash dumpster people. They know where all the recycle places are. They know where all the dump sites are. There's a numerous things that they can do to help a family out when it comes to that, because it is very taxing and very exhausting on the family to have to go through an estate sale and get rid of their parent stuff. So it takes a great burden off of them to be able to do that. So, that's a great reason why you need to have a company doing your estate sale versus you doing it yourself. So, okay, so.
And Dwayne, one thing that we heard over and over, probably from at least 80% of our customers, our clients, and I know other companies hear the same thing. When the family calls you, normally within the first minute they're on the phone, they always tell you, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. What can you do to help me? So at that point, they thought, I can do this, I can sell it. But once they start it, they've worked 2 weeks there trying to get it started, and they haven't even got nothing done yet because they don't know where to start.
That's right.
And they cannot wait to tell you how appreciative they are if you do your job right. If you do what they hired you to do, they are the most appreciative people you would ever work with.
That's true. That's true. Because, like I said, when they look at it, it's so exhausting to them because every closet's full, every cabinet's full. They just don't know where to start, and they just walk in, and time they go through the personal papers and things like that, their mind's blown. It's like, what do we do with this stuff? And that's where the company comes in. They're along with their knowledge of all the places, all the things, how to stage, how to clean, how to do all this. It really takes a great burden off them to be able to do that. So, but without this next thing, it's really kind of useless to have an estate sale company. I hate to say that, but if a company doesn't have recognition is very important for estate sale companies, and that's why companies need to have their mailing list. They need to be well known in the area. They need to, not be a Johnny come lately, just pop up company that that really doesn't have any recognition, because a company will draw in a group of people to their sale that would probably never even come to your house if they didn't know there was an estate sale there. So with their knowledge and recognition, their mailing list, their Facebook accounts, their websites, and then along with estatesales.com and things, they have great recognition. And you want a company who has recognition to be doing your sale. So it's very important to have a company with recognition. So, and Tammy's very good at that, showing recognition for different companies and getting their names out there and telling what's going on. So she's very involved in the recognition of these companies, and we applaud her for doing that for us.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So, So, any other topics you all want to talk about there before we approach our final topic here tonight?
Well, let's start out with Miss Tammy. Tammy,
You know, what you were, to kind of touch base on what you were saying about the family was overwhelmed. I was there. I know myself firsthand when a year ago at this time, my last parent, my daddy, had passed away in July of 2022. And so, and my sister, my younger sister, passed in 2014. So it was, and my mom had passed in 2021. So it all fell to me to go into their apartment, their home of 40 some 50 years, whatever. And I went in there, and I know what you all are talking about the personal papers, and everything was personal because it was my family belongings. So I had, the privilege and the honor, and also all the emotions of going into their apartment and packing up and then putting it in boxes and, deciding, okay, I'm going to bring a lot of items to my home. There's items I'm going to be. I had a great big, a lot of section to donate. I also held a few little sales where people could come in and buy some of their things. And I sold some furniture and clothing and some whatnots. But it was a very emotional time, and I did. I did it all by myself, except toward the very end when I had my husband come one day to help pack some items, and then I had Goodwill come, and I had boxed everything up for Goodwill, and they came and took a whole lot, and then Tom Williams had got some 2 guys to come, and actually 3, and they brought the items that I was going to keep from the apartment to here, so I didn't have to pay anything, and I thank Tom for doing that for me.
Mm-hmm.
that's great.
That's true.
So
And how long did that process
it can be
take you,
very
Tammy?
yes.
How long did it take you before you actually finished it?
The program, yes. Thank you. I went over to my parents' apartment a couple of days after my daddy passed. So probably the middle of July. I had everything cleaned out of that apartment by the end of December last year. So, and I did not go on weekends. I would go try to do what I could through the week. Sometimes I was there 4 hours, sometimes 6 hours, and I had a lot of trash, like you were talking about. I had a lot of trash that I would bag up. And I took it out, and I did it all by myself, carried it out, put it in my car, drove it to the dumpster. So, yeah, but the feeling afterward, it made me feel so good to know. My parents would have been so proud of me because I'm the one, I went through everything and saw it and touched it. I have no regrets for me. Yeah.
Right. But a lot of people couldn't have handled that because they would have been
No.
crying daily. They would have been very emotional.
Yes.
And I know you were.
Yes.
I know a few times on talking with you, chatting, you were very emotional. And if they had hired an estate sale company, you could have, if you had an estate sale company, they would have come in, they would have worked probably a week, had a sale, and it would have been over. So a lot of people
Right.
that's not as strong as you are, that is an easy way out for them, is to hire that estate sale company.
Mm-hmm.
Get it done in a week and it's over.
Right.
And
Right.
And that leads us to, that's a good segue to our last little section here is peace of mind. Most families who hire an estate sale company, the first thing they say to us when they sign the contract is, a burden has been lifted off my shoulders now. I can relax. They hand us the keys. They walk away. They know that within a week, 2 weeks at the most, the house will be cleaned out. It'll be settled. They can go through probate with their information they have from the receipts and things. And it just takes a humongous burden off their shoulders. So as Tammy said, she basically carried the burden herself, which is commendable to do if you're able to do that. But a lot of families can't do that due to work and 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 extenuating circumstances of being out of town, different places, and they're just overwhelmed. And when they sign that contract and they give you the keys, they can say, I can breathe easy now because I know it's going to be taken care of, and it's over, and it's a final closure for them, which is actually very good. And we've heard that so many times. It's, you guys took a burden off of me, and it's so rewarding to be able to help a family do that. So, okay. Well, guys, I think we've covered a lot of little topics here tonight. Hopefully someone's got some information that they can use if they're wanting to, or on the fence row about trying to decide whether or not to have a company help them or try to do it on their own. We would recommend that you have a company, but if you feel you can do it on your own, that's your prerogative. But I think it'd be a lot easier if you would go with a company. Any closing thoughts from any of you guys on anything we talked about tonight?
Well, Dwayne, like you said, I know with a couple other companies that I know personally, and even with our company, people started to do the process, and they worked a couple weeks into it and said, I can't do it no more. Then they called, and the first thing they say is, I wished I had called you sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I wished I'd called sooner. Right. And I know other companies have heard the same thing many times. Mm-hmm. But the one misconception is, when the families walk through, they never think there's much trash there.
No.
When you tell them, we're going to need a dumpster here, they're going to say, but for what? There's not that much trash. There is hidden. We know what to look for. And we know what's trash and what's not just by looking. And we can walk through a house and say, okay, we're going to need a dumpster, or we're going to need a half a dumpster. But yeah, families can't recognize that. I bet, and like you said, Tammy, you had a lot of trash, didn't you? And just to walk in the house, you wouldn't have known that when you started. I mean, it was hidden. It was in closets.
Well, I kind of did it.
Did you?
Yes.
Well, you did a fabulous job with your family.
Yeah. So, okay, guys. Well, appreciate you guys joining us tonight.
Sweet. I was just going to say real quick there to you, Dwayne and Daryl, what happens to if people find, like let's say they hire an estate sale company, and the estate sale company finds personal information like banking and social security cards and all that.
Great question.
Yes.
Great question.
Great question. So, Daryl, you want to handle that, or you want me to take it?
Sure.
What happens?
Okay, what we do is, if they want us to, if it's something really important that we feel, we'll call the family and say, hey, we have found this. Is this something that you would like for us to keep? And they always say yes. So at that point, we find a closet or somewhere, and anything personal we find, we always box it up and put it in a closet and lock it off for the sale. That way they have the opportunity of going through it and seeing if they really want to keep it at one final time.
Right. Because a lot of times they're just overwhelmed, and they just don't know to look for debit cards or credit cards or bank statements, and they don't know what to throw away and what to shred and what to keep and what law requires them to keep. Because certain things have to be kept for 7 years, some things have to be kept for 10 years, certain things like that, and they don't know. And like Daryl said, they're overwhelmed because they've been doing it, and they just get tunnel vision, and they start trying to get out of there. And it's not a good situation when they start tunnel vision and start throwing stuff. So it's good for them to step back and let a company come in who's used to dealing with it, who knows how to sort, who knows what to look for, where to look for it, because families hide stuff. We found $1,700 one time in a dust liner of a dresser that the family had no idea was there. It was $1,700 bills just folded up and put into the rail of the dresser. The drawer slid in. They pushed it down and slid the money under it. So families don't think about looking in these places for stuff. They just go through thinking, oh my, what a mess. And they just walk away. And so it's easy to become overwhelmed and burdened with these situations and not know what to do. And it's better to have a third party come in who is neutral, who is not attached emotionally and physically to the site, who can help you clean out and organize and get ready for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. It may cost you a little bit, a percentage of what the sale is to have the sale, but in the long run, what you're going to gain is going to be well worth it, because you're going to get a greater value for the items you're selling. You're going to get the knowledge of that person to help stage it, present it. You're going to be able to get their knowledge on what to throw away, what to keep, what to shred. And you're going to have the peace of mind knowing that if they find jewelry or bank statements or money, that they're going to file it away and keep it for you. And you can go through that at a later time yourself. And we found all that stuff in ourselves. We found jewelry, we found money, we found personal items, we found papers I didn't know was there. And they're just totally overwhelmed when they come in and say, "Where'd you find that at? We thought we took all the money out of here." Nope, you didn't do it this time.
Right. And then there was a pile of dirty socks. Dirty socks. We ignored the whole time. And then at the end of this, before we started the sale, I got a trash bag and started picking up those socks to throw them away. And they had hidden guns in the socks. So the socks had guns in them.
Pistols in them.
Pistols, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Wow.
you got to pick up everything and handle everything and make sure you find it. Yeah.
Yeah. They had an old box springs and mattress in the basement, and they had all these clothes scattered around the box springs and mattress.
Yep.
And then they had socks under the mattress, and when we pulled the socks out, there were pistols inside the socks, where they slid them in there to keep them safe and hid them under the mattress. So you just never know what or where they hid stuff. So there's a great reason having a estate company. So,
and the greatest joy of this is when you meet the family afterwards and submit them with their check and their listings of the type of things they sold and what they brought, and you just see the tears in their eyes of how they feel so relieved, and they're just so happy that it went that well.
right,
That's always the payday for us, seeing them that happy.
right. And the lady that we found the gold coins for, she was a single mother. She was all by herself because both her parents had passed away. She was working a job. She wasn't in the best of health.
Right.
And she was just totally run down. And when we gave her that check for that huge amount of money from the coins and from her estate sale, you could just see she was just so excited, and so jubilant over the fact that she had that much money finally. She had money in her hands. She didn't have to worry about where her light bills would come from, or her groceries would come from, because that money was there. And it was just so rewarding to be able to give her that money. Yeah, and she was so overwhelmed. It was just exciting.
And one last note from me, and I promise
wonderful.
This is my last comment of the evening.
Yes, and
even though right now we're not currently practicing real estate agents like we have been in the past, we have got buyers for houses during the estate sale just by talking to the customers that's interested, and been able to sell a house for the family the day after our estate sale was over. That's happened, oh gosh, I could count it over and over and over, that we've been able to help the client. They were getting ready to put it on the market, and boom, we already had a buyer for them before it started.
Yeah.
So it's like a big 3-day open house for the customer,
wow.
for the client. Yes, that's correct.
Absolutely. That's phenomenal, isn't it? It is.
It is.
Yes, and you're exactly right. A lot of people come through, and that's one of the things a lot of people will ask is the home for sale. And that is a great big plus for the client, the company, yes.
Right.
So I love it. There are a lot of advantages to using an estate sale company.
There is.
It is. So, okay, guys. I think we've covered this topic pretty good today. You guys don't forget to like and subscribe to our videos as we bring them out. There'll be more and more information on why you need estate sale companies, what kind of company you need to hire. I mean, we have got a slew of topics to bring towards you guys to help you to, be able to make these informed decisions. Tammy's going to have great information coming up in the coming weeks over where the sales are coming in.
Right.
Because we're heading into the estate sale season. People are gearing up to get rid of their stuff. So there'll be lots of numerous sales out there. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Because without your likes and without your subscriptions, we're not going to be able to carry on. So we ask you to hit like and subscribe. And it's just the two little buttons at the bottom. And we thank you very much. So any final words from you guys? Anything else?
Well, just that be sure to tune into this one and next week. We hope to have a very exciting guest next week, owners of an estate sale company that you all will thoroughly enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
They're very entertaining, and so be sure to tune into both those shows, and you will enjoy them.
That's it. Tammy?
Absolutely.
You got anything you want to say?
We have a lot of fun. Yes, we have a lot of fun doing this and getting the information out to all of you. So please make sure that you do click like and subscribe. Thank you.
Yes, and support all your local estate sale companies.
Yes, that's very important. Without them, we wouldn't be here to help you guys.
That's right.
Thank you guys. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, all.
Thank you.
Soundstripe. Soundstripe.